Welcome back, guys. This is Elevated Duty Podcast. This is episode 3. Um, Today we're gonna have like a more chill conversation. Basically, the conversation will be about why we serve here and why we live here. Have you obviously a lot of you guys have seen a lot of our content and branding that basically is live here, serve here, and probably other National Guards states. They also use it because that's the advantage you get while serving in the National Guard. So before I start, let me introduce my two co-hosts today. Sergeant Norcross, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back. Excited to be here, episode 3.
And Sergeant Jackie Gonzalez.
Hello again.
So funny thing is that both of my co-hosts they have something in common on the last couple of weeks. You both been on islands.
Yes, we have
we
both been
have.
on islands in the last couple of weeks.
So where you were, Sergeant Norcross?
Yeah, we were pretty far apart. We couldn't say hi on the islands that we were near. I just returned and I was watching while I was at ALC for 92 Mike in Puerto Rico. I was watching episode 2. And congratulations on you both. That was a very good episode. So that's where I was. And Special Gonzalez, you were...
I was in Hawaii, so
Yeah.
I took some leave and just did a little vacation.
Yeah, going away when we were having. I think last week some areas I was mentioning before we started the podcast, like we had up to 18 inches.
Yeah.
On my house, I think it was 8-9 inches of snow.
Yeah,
And Norcross, how much you had in Puerto Rico? How much snow?
a lot of snow. No, I think it rained one time out there on the forecast. I was actually worried leaving for ALC. There was storms coming in for Colorado. The infantry just conducted their winter FTX up at Camp Hale. Shout out to 10th Mountain Lineage here, bringing mountain infantry back here where it belongs, which it is, first the 157th. But seeing that weather, that was scary. I almost didn't make it out to ALC, and then the entire time it was highs of 82 and
Mhm.
lows of about 69. PT in the morning wasn't as bad as I'm sure PT in the mountains for Camp Hale was for the infantry.
If they did.
If they,
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Imagine
the skiing
though-
they do is a lot of PT.
Yeah, imagine doing sit-ups on that snow.
Yeah.
You're like you sink in that thing. So now that you mentioned the STX, so some folks from infantry that were expecting me up there, I could not make it. I saw the forecast and I'm like, the passes is gonna be crazy.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is that by I think 1500, like majority of the passes were closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like I-70, they had a lot of stop. Like they have to close it westbound for a big time.
Yep.
Probably like 2 or 3 hours. And I know eastbound they had to close. I think it was a crash or something. So I took the decision to basically I'm like it was a great mission.
Sure.
Thank to Sergeant Phelps that gave me some of the footage, but I could not make it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta take the decision and say, you know what, sometimes we need to say no and then be safe.
It's hard. It's hard and it's twofold. There's two sides to that coin, and I'm glad that you made that decision. You were safe, and we had drilled this last weekend at Centennial Training Site down at Fort Carson, and some of our soldiers were not able to make it due to the pass closures as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I would like to thank the leadership for allowing members within the unit that are in positions of leadership to make those calls, whether it be the first sergeant or whatever the case is, unit specific, but soldier safety should be number one. However, the infantry training in austere mountainous environments as a
Mhm.
mountain infantry unit.
It needs to get done.
Yeah. But I think they also got lucky because they went up in like Thursday. So the bad
They
weather
kinda missed
came in
it.
like on Saturday.
During
and
the training while they were there.
Yeah. So my
Mhm.
plan was to travel there on Saturday because I had other businesses on the week.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to travel on Saturday. And my wife was like, you saw the forecast? I'm like, let me check. And then I'm like, oh, wow.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
might get stuck going there or coming back. I'm like,
Not worth it.
no.
No.
I'm with the 193rd MP Battalion, and we had the cold weather training scheduled for Saturday and Sunday. And same thing, Saturday came, and where they were having the training, they're like, if it gets snowed in, like nobody's gonna be able to get out of that.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
they called it off. They did some training outside the facility. Like it was fine. So
Yeah, I mean, utilizing the fifth principle patrolling, common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I hope that we continue to do that as
Yeah.
leaders. Mhm.
So that being said, that's I'll say that's one of the I think one of the least, or was I Colorado has a lot of good things.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I think is bad. Once the weather gets bad, half of the state is mountains. So all the passes get closed and a lot of stuff, needs to be canceled.
Yep.
But let's talk about the topic today, serving in Colorado.
Yeah.
As I started, live here, serve here. Why you guys decided to, pick the guard instead of the active duty side?
You want to start? You want me to start?
I'll let you start.
Okay. So I had flirted with all the branches of service. When I graduated, I made the mistake now looking back and thinking, I'm going to take some time off. And should I maybe think about school? Should I look into some different career paths? I went and talked with numerous recruiters from active duty. I talked to reservist recruiters. One thing that was missing that I didn't see a lot of was National Guard. And so being a recruiter now here in the state of Colorado, we try and make an impact and be it wherever we can, but it's a large state and there's a lot of people. But after talking with the different branches of service, I knew that I wanted to serve. And whether that was giving back to my community and those that I love and surround myself with, whether that's in a first responder role, which we have a lot of here in the Guard, either in medical or fire or law enforcement. It was just fate that I was in a location and met my prior recruiter and finally learned about the benefits of the Guard. And I joined at 21. Colorado has been home. I've been very fortunate to have traveled all over the country serving with the National Guard. Georgia, Arkansas, Utah, Wyoming, overseas training in Ukraine, and all these locations. It's amazing, but Colorado's been home, and I hope it is. That's the plan moving forward. We were talking about the weather, and we can have all 4 seasons in a day. It's beautiful out today. The snow is melting from this weekend and this past week, but we're supposed to get more this weekend. But to actually have the spring and summer and fall and winter, it's grown so much here in Colorado. And, politics and demographics aside, it's my home. I love it, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And I hope I can continue serving here and working here and living here.
That's great. What about you, Jackie?
So like Sergeant Norcross, I kind of did some research too, talked to different recruiters and things like that. The first one that I talked to was the Navy. So funny, I almost joined the Navy first, which I don't know how to swim. And in Hawaii, I found out I actually get seasick. So
Really?
probably wouldn't have been a good idea to join the Navy. But typically, first recruiter you talk to, that's usually the branch you're going to go with, just statistically speaking. So glad I didn't do that. I found out about the National Guard. Didn't know a lot about it either, to be honest. I think a lot of people, when they see us in uniform. We're a component of the Army, so they just naturally think, oh, the Army. They don't really realize, oh, we're, part-time, we're local. So once I did find out about the National Guard, because I have, a family, and I didn't want to go necessarily be stationed anywhere else or be told where to live, I went with the National Guard. And yeah, same. Happy to be serving here in Colorado, where I grew up.
That's
Yeah.
great. And if
Yeah.
they haven't seen the previous podcast with, basically it's just exclusive interview with Specialist Gonzalez.
Yeah, it was great.
Mhm.
She served and then she came back after watching Top Gun.
I did. It's a little inspo.
Yeah, so that was great. That was great. So for me, on my side is I never thought I was gonna live here in Colorado. So funny thing is my wife got stationed here. She's active duty,
Mm-hmm.
and based on my job, I submitted a bunch of applications, and the guard called me. He's like, "Hey, we need a public affairs NCO for recruiting. Do you want to come here?" I'm like, "Well, I'm already going there." Yeah, and then I was on the process to transfer from a reserve unit in Puerto Rico to a reserve unit here in Denver. So I'm like, "Can you beat that? Can you give me a full-time job?" They're like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, I'm leaving. I'm leaving because, for some people that watch out there, we do drill once a month, and we do AT twice 2 weeks a year,
Yep.
Mhm.
but we also have full-time staff.
Yep.
So I came in as a staff under the recruitment and retention battalion, and as you know, as a social media manager. So
That was
Yeah.
that was one of my hooks as well. And we tell everyone that we meet and talk to, especially those that are watching, who may be thinking about going active duty, the benefit of trying the Guard first, not only can you join the National Guard before you can go active duty and start acquiring that time in service and ranking up and going to schools, etc., but being able to transfer from the Guard to active is a fairly simple process if
Yeah.
approved.
Yep.
And I've seen it approved multiple
I've seen it
times.
as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But if you choose to go active duty first, getting out of that contract midway and coming Guard, I have never heard of it happening.
no,
Never seen it.
I've
Yeah.
never seen it.
Yeah.
What I usually like, we got a lot of prior service, because we have a lot of active duty facilities here in Colorado, and
Mhm.
they ask, and they're like, I think the first question we ask is how much you have, like how much left you have in that contract,
Sure.
Yeah.
to see if if it's worth it to start like working with you, or we need to wait until because you're not gonna get away from that contract.
Right.
No. Mm-mm.
It's like the ultimate decision, right?
Mhm.
So, and I think what you said is important for those folks out there that they want to experiment the army.
Yep.
And then if they want to do it on a full-time basis, they might not have the opportunities we get in the Guard.
Right.
We can go to college. You don't need to stop doing what you're doing. You can keep your work.
Come work for us full time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Active duty benefits, active duty pay.
And
And if that's still not enough, then you can go active duty if
Yeah.
you want to go.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you have time to take that decision,
Right.
compared with active duty that it's just you just get in there, and basically the army is going to become your full-time job.
Mhm.
So so you mentioned that you live here, sorry, Norcross,
Yeah.
you live here,
Yep.
your family is here.
I was born here. Family was born here. Lineage in Colorado goes pretty far back. I am an immediate family. I'm the only one left here in Colorado. And yeah, I plan to keep it that way. We were talking a little bit about it before at the introduction to the podcast on the weather.
Oh,
yeah. One of the things for me that's been so beneficial for the National Guard is protecting mine and my own and the state that I love. Looking back, when I was with the 1st and 157th Infantry, I was attached during the wildfires.
Mhm.
And so the East Peak fire, I want to say that was in 2013 or 14. 1st 157th was activated, and that was my first taste of state activation, being able to actually help out the state during a time of emergency. And we were brought on, briefed very quickly on what the plan of action was going to be. We went down to the Denver Armory. We went through an expedited 40-hour course to become Wildland Type 1 firefighter certified. And then we were issued a bunch of gear, and we got on trans and went down south to East Peak, and it was about a month down there digging fire line and protecting homes and property. And so, that's... It's horrible. It's horrible that these things happen. And you look around the world right now, and you look at the natural disasters that are happening all over the world. It's unprecedented times that we live in. In California, it's the rain there right now is the most rain they've ever received in hundreds of years.
But then once they get the fires, they're
right.
It's like the fires are nonstop. Like it doesn't matter how much, like the firefight they do, and then how much like choppers they deploy for that. It's like
they are always on.
They
fire.
don't stop.
Yeah.
It's like once that fire starts, it will engulf everything. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And whether it's the fires or working at the Fort Lyons floods, and the dam was about to break, and the city was ruined. These events are so horrible, but someone has to step up and help. And we have local agencies that are stepping in. And that's what they're required to do. And federal assets are brought in, and then now here we are, a state and federal asset. So to live here, work here, and actually be able to protect and stand up for, what we believe in as Coloradans, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
What about you, Jackie? Do you like the weather here? It's like you don't have option, but
yeah. I'm not a fan of the winters. I picked up snowboarding to try to, have some fun in the winter, get out there. I'm not very good at it, but I'm getting better. I'm more of a summer person. I didn't so much like the beach, of Hawaii. I love the mountains. So yeah, summertime in the mountains, hiking, fishing, camping, all of that. That's kind of my jam. Yeah.
So I moved here was October, I believe. So it was like, it wasn't cold, it wasn't hot, it was just
nice
like
fall
perfect.
weather.
It was good. And I think, Puerto Rico is humid.
Oh,
yes.
And then you don't, like, once you live there, you get used to it. Like, you get acclimated. Anywhere you go, you will get used to, that climate and weather down there. So I went last year, May, after being living here for, I don't know, October, it's like, 8 months, probably 7 months. And I was like, I don't know how I live here since I was 28, 29. I'm like, it's hot. And it's like
back home in Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then you feel you recently went there.
Yeah.
And you feel like someone is blowing like an actual blow, like
the oven's open, something. Yeah.
So it's like a hair dryer on your face all the time, and the humidity is just crazy. And I compare Puerto Rico. I recently went to Kansas for Riley in August. It was
oh yeah,
humid, and I'm like,
Midwest.
I can't
Kansas,
wait to go back home. And I'm like, I've been here only a year and 4 or 5 months.
Wow, so you haven't been here very
And
long.
I'm like, Colorado weather is perfect.
So what
It's
did
like
you think?
zero humidity. Like you have a balance. It gets cold in winter, but it's not crazy cold.
Right.
And summer is like, I don't know, what's the max? Like 90?
We can get pretty hot.
95?
Yeah, we'll break 100, depending on the year. Just wait. It'll feel like home back in Puerto Rico.
But Puerto Rico gets to it's like 105 you might get.
Yeah,
and then
we'll
index
touch that.
and the index.
Yeah. Your
Yeah.
humidity is where it gets you.
It gets to 115, 120.
So what did you think when it was like your first winter here? Your first like big snowstorm?
That was last year.
Did you like it? Was it like
It was, I'm like, yeah, it's cold, but I was used, because I didn't come to Colorado straight for that. So I had time to acclimate for that.
Got it.
So once it came,
You were kind of
yeah, I would.
expecting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that the big thing about Colorado is you get out of 4 seasons.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico is always summer.
Always. That's what the instructors were saying. Yeah.
It's
Shout out
always-
to the reserve instructors for Fort Buchanan. Their quote was, "Summer is summer, fall is summer, winter is summer, spring summer."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Sounds
just
like my kind of place, honestly.
It was, yeah.
it's like summer is hot. We don't have fall, and winter is less hot, and then we don't have spring, and then summer again.
Did you work? Question for being back home. We were talking about the emergencies here in Colorado, and obviously everyone knows the disasters that have happened in Puerto Rico with the hurricanes.
Yeah.
Did you see? What I'm sure. Can you tell us? Was it all hands on deck? Regardless,
Oh, yeah.
if you were Army Reserve, did you see active Army out there?
Yeah.
The National Guard as well.
Mm-hmm. It was all branches were there, and it was a mess. Like,
Were you in at that point on the last big hurricane?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You were in the reserves.
I was in the reserve, and then imagine the disaster,
Yeah.
like the level of disaster that happened in Puerto Rico. That I think it was after the hurricane. It was only one radio station up,
Oh,
and it was not like island wide. It was like a certain sections that of the island that you
Mhm.
that you'll get a little bit of a radio signal, and then the CG by that time was General Schultz. Shout out to General Schultz.
Okay.
She's always like yelling Garita Warriors here and there. She went to the radio station and she was like, if your family is okay, your house is okay, and you're willing to come to your unit and help the island, please come.
And this was
Wow.
That was
everybody on the radio
No, it was the CG for the reserve.
for all of the reserves.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, she did the because there was no signal, no cell phone signal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like no cell phone signal, total blackout the island, and then the only radio station. That's when we heard about.
You heard about your call to
Come
service
in if-
and being
wow.
activated on an FM radio station.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
and then we went to me and my wife. We both were in the reserve, so we looked for signal, and then we called our unit, and we were like, it was like signal. It was like 1 bar, was like whatever signal we had. I don't know where it was coming because all the antennas were gone.
Yeah.
Like everything was gone. So we managed to contact our unit, and we were like, hey, we will be there this week. We don't know when, but we will be there. So we went there, and like imagine the disaster. Like
Yeah.
it's easier for us when we have a cell phone and we call. I saw my commander that had assumed command the drill prior that hurricane, trying to reach other units and our command through like a satellite phone,
Yeah.
and he wasn't able to even connect the satellite phone,
Jeez.
and yeah, it was
So
it
how-
was a mess. Like no power, no water, no cell phone signal. Like if you didn't, like I prepared myself, so I have some cash. Like I went to the bank like
Yeah.
like a week before, because a week before Hurricane Maria, we had Hurricane Irma passing by.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, I'll show you something. I'll show you something so you can see it.
While you're pulling that up, you were saying, so you were in the reserves, activated,
Let me. Yeah.
working with the National Guard.
working alongside of the national.
The National Guard has their own mission, so we basically were activated under the federal emergency. So we fell under the National Guard.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So the National Guard creates the state of the government of Puerto Rico created a state of emergency.
Yeah.
Then the National Guard gets activated. Then the resolve also get pulled. So I'll show you.
This is very good coffee, by the way. Is it from Puerto Rico?
Not this one.
Not this one.
He-
Okay.
Sorum Rivera. That's the one thing he asked me to bring back from his home there in Puerto Rico was the coffee. What was the name of the coffee, Sorum Rivera?
The one you brought me.
Yeah.
La Reño, Café La Reño.
Lareño, Cafe Lareño. It's really good.
So I'll
Maybe
show
he'll
you.
let us have some.
So look at that. So
The hurricanes coming one right after another.
Yeah.
Wow.
I believe it's this one.
That one looks bigger.
Irma, look at it. Irma leaves the paths of destruction, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then behind Irma, it was Hurricane Maria.
Yeah.
So Hurricane Maria came, and then basically destroyed everything. Let me see. God. For some reason,
You know, it's so completely wild to think about. You know, it's wherever you live, whether it's rainfall or, you know, winter conditions here, and we're using aviation assets to save cattle and drop hay from helicopters and rescue people stranded on, you know, our interstate systems.
Started in the mountains.
In the mountains. But yeah, no matter what you're activated for, it's no matter where you live,
Mhm.
there's a need for
For the National Guard.
the National Guard.
Yep.
so here, what is it? Oh, it's there. Why is it doing this?
Technical difficulties.
There we go. So here you have, I believe this is Irma all the way up there, and then Maria is hitting Puerto Rico. You see
Mhm.
the Dominican Republic right here,
Yeah.
and then you see Hurricane Maria there. And then it's funny because behind Maria, it came one is I think it was I believe that was Harvey right here.
Harvey, Irma, Maria.
Yeah, we had 4: Harvey, Irma, Maria, Jose.
I'm gonna say.
Both
Wow.
got 5. So by the time Hurricane Maria did landfall, it was Cat 5. But you know, once they do landfall, automatically they drop because of the contact with land. So they went down to Cat 4. But it was a total mess.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was there. I reclassed and was there for
What year you reclassed?
in 2019, and with the Mortuary Affairs unit and with the reserve component there out of Puerto Rico, and we were helping when we were getting, you know, the hands-on training. And it was yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, it was.
How long was that cleanup for you guys?
I only stayed for 45 days.
No.
But there was people that they stayed for 3-4 months,
Wow.
and I know because our unit was super operations. Some of our soldiers they stayed active with doing seaport operations down at the Puerto in Ponce.
Mhm.
There's a seaport in Ponce. I think they stayed almost a year.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, and you asked me before, like, what are the branches we had there? We had all the branches because the first things they did is clear the port up in San Juan.
Okay.
So they had to make sure there was no like sunken like chips or whatever on the bay, on the San Juan Bay, to make sure all the like incoming like help and all the carriers can like
Could get help.
yeah, because you don't want a carrier stuck in the bay with another ship that is underneath. So they had to make sure that all the bay was clear in order to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think there's images. Let me see if I find images, and then I'll show you. We have
Did you see a lot of people back home in Puerto Rico after, you were activated, did you see a lot more, an uptick in people joining either the reserves, the National Guard after, an incident like that?
What do you mean?
After the hurricanes came through and the reserves were rebuilding and the Guard was activated and, everyone was cleaning up and trying to get back some normalcy to life, did you see people wanting to join more the reserves of the National Guard?
So that's something I don't relate with the hurricane, but probably yes,
I would
because
imagine.
it will create it created the hurricane created a necessity,
Yeah.
and there was some areas like where I'm from, like my dad and my mom, they didn't have like power for probably 5 or 6 months
Wow.
Wow.
up in the mountains. Yeah,
Oh
so
my
they were
gosh.
running on generators.
Okay.
So it wasn't pleasant like situation, but Puerto Ricans, they are like hardworking people,
Yeah.
and they managed to get out of that situation. It took them like, I know some areas they're like 6 months, that's nothing. I know that probably some people will say that's nothing, because I know there were some regions that they were more than 6 months without power.
Which it's so crazy for us, at least for me, I think, to hear, because we don't deal with that in Colorado.
No.
We've never had like that kind of disaster.
You
So.
you think about a thunderstorm taking out power or snow
Yeah.
takes out a power line.
Water
Um,
freezing, that happened to me recently.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
recently I was out of my house, and my neighbor called me, "Hey, did you lose power?" I'm like, let me check. So I have my alarm system.
Yeah.
It notifies me if there's a power outage or something in my house.
Mhm.
So I'm like, oh yeah. So I asked him, how long does this happen? And he's like, I don't know, like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And then I waited, and in 15 minutes later was back on.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's so
that's
quick.
that's nothing. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I was surprised we lost power, because that wasn't my first time losing power on my house,
Mm.
but here in Colorado. But that was nothing. I'm like, 15 minutes.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
What is your favorite places to go or to do here in Colorado?
Yeah. Growing up here in Colorado and following the sports teams here, big fan. Football, Denver Broncos, Denver Nuggets, Colorado Rockies. One of the programs I was with and currently still belong to on the MDA side capacity is the Military Funeral Honors Program for the state of Colorado. And I've been very fortunate and lucky enough to have provided color guards and flag ceremonies for some of the games, and to be able to be present for some of those opportunities on behalf of the National Guard again. So that was, phenomenal, bringing it all back.
Yeah.
What about you, Jackie?
For me, a lot of sports too. I
Mhm.
love baseball, so I'm always at the Rockies games. Red Rocks is another place that I
Yeah.
love going to. Not only the shows and concerts, but going to get a workout on the weekends there. The stairs are great for that, so love that. And then with service, I've got to do a lot of things in the community. One of them was working with our counter drug unit, which going to visit schools, talk about not doing drugs, choosing healthy choices, things like that. We actually would land a helicopter at these schools and kind of give a speech to the kids about what we do and how to basically make the right choices to become something to look up to, like the pilots. So that was a lot of fun and gets you out there in the community and
Great.
being a part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was part of one of those.
Yeah. Did you like
Yeah.
it?
I think it was Thornton School, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
Thornton.
Yeah, it was great. Like all the kids, once they see the chopper like landing,
They go
They go crazy, and that's something like it gives you motivated. It's like
Yeah.
you might never know who are you impacting?
Right.
That kid right there might be our future governor,
Yeah.
and we are like motivating them to do the right thing at the right time.
Well,
Yep.
and Colorado's got such a nice demographic of fitness. Year after year, we're one of the healthiest states.
Mhm.
And so going back to your point with, living healthy and staying away from drugs and
Yeah.
getting educated and going to school. If you like being outside, like we were just talking about earlier in the podcast, the Mountain Infantry Unit, they were up
Mhm.
skiing,
Yeah.
in the mountains for
Should imagine that for a drill weekend.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
grab your
getting
gear,
paid to go ski.
getting paid,
Yeah.
getting exercise.
Mhm.
You touched on the pilots.
Yep.
A lot of the pilots that we've met started on the enlisted side and
Mhm.
worked their career paths and got all of their certifications and
Mhm.
flight hours through the National Guard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And majority of them are, I believe, they are commercial pilots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's crazy, they basically do a parallel like careers, so everything matches,
Yeah.
Like, their civilian career matches with their military career,
Mhm.
and then they fit each other, like they get the hours from one to the other
100%.
one, and
Yeah.
I was talking with an individual today who may join the National Guard, and he's in law enforcement down in the Springs. And, just you hit the nail on the head. If whatever you're doing on the civilian side, wherever you live, there is an equal job opportunity that matches your skill set, and you can take the skills you learn on the military side with the National Guard and bring them back to the civilian side and both get better. Or if you wanted to go 180 and go in a complete opposite direction, if you had, for example, I've known some bankers that had become infantrymen because they were lacking,
that adventure.
That was
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
I was working at a bank, and
There you go.
I needed something to break up that monotony. So
yeah.
I became a fueler, but working in aviation, it was so fun. Like, it really broke that monotony up and just like got me out there, and it's exciting adventure,
Mhm.
So yeah. I tell people that all the time too. You don't have to do the exact same thing. You can shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, and the previous podcast we mentioned that too. Is like,
Yeah.
hey, you might not like your first MOS, but not because of that. You need to get out. There's like
Yeah.
how many MOSs do we have in the car? Like probably 80 plus.
Yeah, it's
Over 80.
yeah.
80
Yeah.
plus. Choose something else, reclass,
Mm-hmm.
and then do something else.
Get that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just look on the list that we have. Let me see what they have.
Yeah.
Let me see what
That's-
what I can do. Let's go.
You need to reiterate that every time. Make a clip out of this podcast
Yeah.
and put it on, especially the Colorado National Guard, for those soldiers that are in and you are burnt out and you're tired and you've done the schools at your current unit and you've been utilized or you're overutilized and you have the stressors of your current unit and leadership changes. If the Guard is starting to wear on you and you feel like you aren't hitting your full potential, go talk to your career counselor. Go talk to your retention NCO.
Yeah.
Go down to state headquarters and ask to talk to the incentives officers and NCOs. They will sit down and talk to you, and you can find a new challenge, a new adventure.
Yeah. So
Going,
yeah.
if you don't mind, going back to kind of supporting, missions around the state and things
Mhm.
like that. I was talking to somebody yesterday, an applicant who came in, and he was saying, I want to be part of that. What job do I choose to be part of helping with these fires
Sure.
and search and rescues and things like that? And one thing that I like to make clear is no matter what you do, you're going to be in that support role.
Mhm.
You don't have to be a pilot. You could be a fueler. We got activated all the time to go help
Mhm.
with fires and things because we
Yeah.
need to support the pilots. Same thing. You don't need to be a firefighter or, whatever, infantryman, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They all have a support team who are going to be out there with them.
Yeah.
So
We have a video about that in our YouTube. Is the NFL flyover
Oh yeah.
As the behind the scenes of an NFL flyover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we use the NFL flyover is there, and then our pilots use that. They already have scheduled flights,
Yeah.
so they use that as let's do.
They have to get their flight hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then all the we need to service all the equipment. We need to do all that. Let's do the
Mhm.
flyover. But behind the scenes, once you watch that video, you understand it's like all the pieces that are part of just getting one piece of equipment up in the air.
Yep.
Is just crazy.
It's like every job is important and plays a
Yeah.
role into the mission.
Yeah, and we all of them have a purpose and a
Absolutely.
reason to be.
Mhm.
And so so you mentioned sports.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite team here in Colorado?
Probably the Denver Broncos. So it's sad to see the Kansas City Chiefs at the Super Bowl.
Who are you going for between them, by the way?
49ers. I
So
have to.
am I.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah, I have to. Being a Denver Broncos fan and seeing Kansas City back yet again at the Super Bowl. But yeah, and we touched base on it earlier in the podcast. It's the National Guard giving back to the community in times of distress and need and disasters and horrible things happening at home, abroad. But the chance to be able to be there for the public in our communities during good events and sporting events and, state fairs, all the things where the community comes together as one and we're there. And, recently we took some of our vehicles and we were able to take high school seniors going to their prom. And we took the football team and we drove them to the field. And we're there for the community when good things are happening and when bad things are happening.
That's true.
Never sleeping. So we're here for the good times and the bad. And yeah.
That's great. For me, I believe I'm a soccer fan,
Mm-hmm.
but my team, like, that's something. My team is in Barcelona, Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's like for me to watch like other teams. So sorry, I don't watch the Rapids.
Have you been to a Rapids game yet?
No, not yet. The day I was gonna, they offered me to go because we have a recruiting event with them.
Yeah.
Sadly, I had drill.
Oh.
Yeah.
It won't be the last, I'm sure.
Yeah. It happens. Training and unit mission comes first.
Right.
So that's stuff that we need to take care of. But I believe here in Colorado, I believe is the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Nuggets.
It was fun
And
to see them win their championship.
Yeah.
And,
Much deserved Denver Nuggets.
I joke around saying like, I came to Colorado and they won, so they needed me. So I came here last
Thank
year
you.
and they won. So I
Yeah.
I brought the good luck for them.
There you go.
Yeah. So, what are the upcoming things that we have this year? I know the first two podcasts were more like interviews, and our plan is to do it more like conversational.
Mhm.
So, what are upcoming things for you guys this year, Sergeant Norcross?
Well, I would still like, if you are watching the podcast and you are in the Colorado National Guard, Army or Air, to please reach out in social media. See the links below. Contact Sergeant Rivera, contact Specialist Gonzalez, myself. You can find us at the Parker office for Colorado National Guard Recruiting Retention. If you want to be on the podcast and you're in a unit and you have something to say for the National Guard, if you want to recommend a soldier to be on the podcast, the next one coming up, we just got off the phone with Sergeant Max Miller.
Yeah.
And so we're very excited to bring him on next week. You'll see a podcast with him and all his accolades in the sniper world. And so you'll all get to
Mhm.
learn a whole lot
Very
about
exciting.
Bravo 4 and the things he's done as a sniper in the Colorado National Guard. So that's what I'm really excited for is the next podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what about you?
Me, upcoming things.
Yeah.
Really just continue to get out there in the community. We're always looking for ways that we can get involved as well. So
Mhm.
if you have anything going on, definitely let us know. We'd love to be a part of it. I think a big one we're doing is Raider Challenge coming up. That's for college ROTC.
Mm-hmm.
Basically like a competition, right? It's kind of
Yeah, the best
like a
way.
physical-
Yeah, it's hard to describe. With the JROTC, a bunch of schools with JROTC. So if you're in JROTC or if you know somebody that is, that you can probably describe in the comments a little bit better than we can. But yeah, a challenge.
Yeah. This is both of
know-
our first year doing this event, so
It's
Yeah,
it's a
Will be-
competition.
Yeah, I
so there will
cover-
be a winner.
Yeah, I
Um,
covered last year Denver because this one's gonna be Denver also.
Aurora.
it'll be in Aurora.
Aurora.
Yeah.
So I cover it was Denver. I don't remember the high school, but yeah, they do. You know, they run it different on every time. You know, the competitions might be different, but you know they have, I believe it was a mile run. They have like a sled, like the ones we do.
Spread
But
your
they're-
carry.
But you can like it was a 4 people. It was funny to watch because it's like a
Yeah.
whole squad, and then there's 2 dragging and 2 pushing.
Oh wow.
And then I think
okay.
it was heavier than our sled.
Okay.
It has probably 3 times the weight.
Yeah.
Oh.
What else they did? They did long jump. They did push-ups, sit-ups. I believe they did pull-ups.
The last one I was at was
Not
physical
sure.
too.
Yeah, it was.
I think it's
it was-
mostly physical.
Yeah, physical, and then they do. I believe they do
So
drills and
you have another
ceremonies.
one.
I went to one other.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it was
This will be
Denver
my first
East.
one then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Denver East was my last one. And it was all physical. I don't know if they do
I think they-
things at the schools
I
where
think they
it's
do
academic.
drills and ceremonies, right?
I want to say they
I don't
do.
remember.
I think that was mentioned. We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
but
excited.
It's something. Yeah,
Or
we
That-
are
that's
very
the
excited
Raider
about that.
challenge.
That's what something about the Raider challenge is. You don't know what to expect because everything is
Mhm.
different. All day, like they add new like disciplines or new like competitions for points. So it's always different. So it's fun. It's fun to watch.
They keep it exciting.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
It's
and
fun to watch.
Hopefully, we'll get some footage of that too and be able
Yeah.
to share some of that. So.
I know the Marksmanship Academy, you and I had talked about that. That's
Yeah.
coming up end of April, into May.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Adjutant General's Marksmanship match, the tag match this
Mhm.
summer. Yeah, excited to see new faces at both those events.
Yeah. That'll be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I can. Last year I had fun. Like it was my first tag match.
Mm-hmm.
Because again I came from the reserve, so probably they do have that in the Guard in Puerto Rico. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I was like, this was my first year in the Colorado National Guard. It was a lot of like changes
Yeah.
and then a lot of new stuff. Like because even though the reserve and the National Guard have similarities, they run so different.
They
like
do.
they do. They have so like the Guard has so much stuff. Like I don't know. It's a different world. And last year I had fun.
Yeah.
It is a different type of marksmanship event.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the one we usually go to the range and just wait for the pop-ups to come
Yeah.
up. Come up.
Definitely
That's,
break you out of your comfort zone, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Even me, I was shooting the videos and running behind them. I had fun.
Yeah.
It was good.
That's awesome.
It was great.
Yeah. Great things this year. Looking forward to it for the 2024 Colorado National Guard.
Great.
Yep.
And then obviously some of you guys probably want to know more about Sergeant Norcross down in Puerto Rico, but we'll save that for a later time.
The
Once-
stories aren't going anywhere. I'll be here.
Once we get one of our guests that is already scheduled.
Towards this couple more podcasts.
yeah.
Two more.
Two more.
Chief, remind me.
Chief Flores.
Chief Flores.
Chief Flores. She works on the front office,
Mhm.
and she has a really good story. And we will bring her.
Yeah.
And yeah, you will have an opportunity to share your stories about Puerto Rico.
They're small compared to Chief Flores and yourself. Trust me.
Well, I saw the video you shared. It was like a slideshow type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, 2 weeks. It looked like a month.
that
down
was one of my AAR comments at the end of the course. And we briefly talked about it. If you're in a unit and you feel burnt out and you want a new challenge, you want a new adventure. Some of these things, it's we just had some recruiters go to Hawaii.
Mhm.
My training was in Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
We have other individuals I know that had just attended ALC in Hawaii.
Right.
California, if you feel stuck, if you feel stagnant, reach out.
Yeah.
There are let the Colorado National Guard fulfill that sense of excitement that's missing.
Yeah.
If you're not the squeaky wheel, you're not going to, nothing's going to change. You have
Mhm.
to be an advocate for yourself and your
Yeah.
own career.
And as you mentioned, like, it's not only training opportunities, but also job opportunities.
Absolutely.
Ask your chain of command, like, about, hey, what opportunities do we have in to support as a full-time staff, as a tech.
Yeah.
Like,
ADOS,
yeah.
technician.
When I came here, I came as a tech.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm on ADOS now.
Yeah.
Then I might be back as a tech next year. So that's some opportunities that the guard compared with other components.
Yeah.
We do have.
And if your friends or family decide they want to move and live in another state, you can pack your
Yeah.
things and move with them.
Yep.
Transfer to their guard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like the snow anymore, we can transfer you down to
Puerto Rico.
To Puerto Rico. So
Hawaii, California.
yeah. Reach out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you like our content, go below, subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you can get notified whenever we upload our content. Again, comment follow us on Facebook or Instagram, CO National Guard, Instagram and Facebook. Do you have something else?
No, like, share, tag. If you're interested in knowing more about the Colorado National Guard, reach out to Specialist Gonzalez or myself. Parker, Colorado National Guard Recruiting Office. You can Google us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put the phone number or the address below
Okay.
or on the screen.
Perfect.
So they can watch that.
Perfect.
Okay. Podcast 3 done.
Yay.
Um,
Good job.